The National Executive Council of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria convened in Abuja, Federal Capital Territory, on the 27th April 2026. The meeting reviewed the state of the nation, development within Congress, report from affiliates and state councils, preparations for the 2026 May Day celebration, and other critical matters affecting Nigerian workers and the general populace. Following exhaustive deliberation, NEC resolved as follows. Number 1, Iran-US war and its implication for Nigeria. NEC expressed deep concern over the ongoing Iran-US conflict and its far-reaching implications for the global economy, particularly its relation to energy prices, shipping costs, supply chain, inflation, food security, and foreign exchange stability. Council noted that despite Nigeria's status as an oil-producing nation, increases in global oil price do not translate into relief for Nigerian workers. Rather, such crises often exacerbate hardship through rising fuel prices, increased freight costs, imported inflation, pressure on the naira, and escalating cost of goods and services. NEC therefore called on the federal government to treat the situation as both a foreign policy and domestic policy emergencies. Government must take urgent steps to protect Nigerians in affected regions, curb profiteering, strengthening local refining capacity, build strategic fuel reserve, and ensure that any additional crude oil revenue is transparently deployed to cushion the impact on workers and vulnerable citizens. Worsening insecurity across the country. NEC expressed grave concern over the escalating insecurity across the country, including kidnapping, banditry, terrorism, communal clashes, farm invasions, highway abductions, and other forms of violent criminality. Council observed that insecurity has evolved into a major economic and labor crisis. When farmers are unable to access their farms, food production declines and price rises. When workers cannot travel safely, productivity suffers. When communities are displaced, businesses collapse and jobs are lost. NEC call on all tiers of government and security agencies to adopt a coordinated, intelligence-driven, and community-based security framework. Government must prioritize the protection of farms, schools, highways, workplaces, and rural communities. TUC further urged targeted support for displaced personnel, affected farmers, transport workers, traders, and communities whose livelihood have been disrupted. Fuel prices and local refining vis-a-vis crude supply. NEC reviewed the persistent hardship arising from rising fuel prices and reaffirmed that urgent government intervention is required to prevent further increases in the pump price of petroleum products. Council noted that the combined effect of global crude oil volatility, exchange rate pressures, and domestic supply constraints continue to drive the cost of petrol, diesel, and aviation fuel, thereby worsening transportation costs, food price, production expenses, and overall living condition. As you could see recently, that airlines, they have been threatening that they want to down tools and that they want to short operations. And as you know, we have a TUC affiliate. We have workers that are working in there. If these airlines short their activities, a lot of Nigerian workers are going to be sent packing. So, to all these, we urge government to take decisive steps. Yes, we heard what the president announced last week, that they are going to write off 30% debt for the airline industry. But we think some far-reaching approach should be taken. We think that some far-reaching measures should be adopted so that workers in that sector will not be threatened, so that they will have jobs to do. NEC therefore call on federal government to allocate part of excess crude revenue and above the budget benchmark to subsidize crude oil supply to domestic refineries, including the Dangote refineries and all other local refineries. This approach represents a transparent, production-linked intervention that can lower the cost of refined products without reverting to the subsidy regime that government has been shying away from. NEC also demand a 50% reduction in taxes on manufacturing companies and workers within the period to ease economic pressure and support productivity. Because when government comes up, for example, to reduce the taxes on manufacturing companies and to also reduce taxes on Nigerian workers, what that means is that we'll have more dispensable income to be spent on, on daily activities. Because as of today, the transport cost has gone up. As of today, the prices of food are all going up. As of today, we could all see the impact of this rising energy cost. So government must act decisively. Government all over all over the world, they are all acting, bringing a lot of measures to reduce the burden on the citizens. So the Nigerian government, the federal, the state government, and the local government must all come in unison to develop, measures that could alleviate the current suffering that Nigerians are passing through. Workers' welfare and housing loan scheme. NEC received with caution optimism the approval of welfare measures for federal civil servants, including the 10 billion naira housing loan scheme aimed at improving access to home ownership. While welcoming this initiative, NEC emphasized that policy announcements must translate into tangible benefits. The scheme must be accessible, affordable, transparent, and free from bureaucratic bottlenecks. TUC calls on federal government to ensure that the scheme is not hijacked by privileged interests. State governments are equally urged to replicate similar interventions and extend such benefits to local government workers, private sector employees, and retirees who continue to face severe economic hardship. Electricity tariffs and service delivery. NEC strongly condemn the continuous increase in electricity tariffs without corresponding improvement in service delivery. Council observed that Nigerians are being compelled to pay more for unreliable power supply, estimated billing, and poor customer service. The tariff band system has further worsened the situation, with many consumers charged premium rates without receiving commensurate electricity supply. You know about the band A, B, C, and D. Those that are in band A today, most of the factories that are in band A, they told us at the beginning that they were receiving minimum of 20 hours power supply. But as you could see, even at times, they struggle to get 1 or 2 hours supply per day. NEC insists that Nigerians must not be forced to pay for inefficiencies. Any tariff regime must be fair, transparent, service-based, and accountable. TUC calls on federal government, NERC, and distribution companies to ensure universal metering, eliminate estimated billings, improve supply, and engage organized labor before implementing policies that impose additional burdens on Nigerian workers. Internal development in affiliate and state councils. NEC received reports on activities within Congress from December 2025 to date and commended the leadership for sustained engagement on workers, welfare, national economic issues, and industrial relations. Council noted significant progress towards the acquisition of a befitting national secretariat, describing it as a historic milestone for institutional strengthening. Reports from affiliates highlighted leadership transition, internal union consolidation, collective bargaining effort, and sector-specific challenges. NEC urged all affiliates to uphold constitutional provision, strengthening internal democracy, and promote unity. Regarding the leadership issue in the Association of Senior Civil Servants, NEC directed that Congress lawyers should review the relevant court judgment and advise accordingly. NEC also commended state councils for sustaining Congress presence at the subnational level, particularly in mobilization, engagement with state government, welfare advocacy, and May-Day preparations. On Lagos State Council issues, NEC reaffirmed its December 2025 resolution recognizing Comrade Hannah Omeje as the duly elected chairperson. NEC reiterated that non-financial members are ineligible to vote or be voted for. Council further noted that the issue of impersonation involving one Mr. Abiodun Aladeto and others has been resolved, and wish to appreciate all stakeholders, including the Lagos State government, for restoring order and stability. NEC directed the National Secretariat to audit state councils and ensure that any non-financial member occupying office is stepped down in line with the established Congress rules. NEC also reviewed preparation for 2026 May Day celebration and emphasized that the theme reflects the urgent reality facing Nigerian workers: decent work, economic justice, social protection, job security, and the defense of workers. Defense of workers' rights. Affiliates and state councils are directed to use the platform to clearly articulate workers' demand and advocate for policies that alleviate hardship and restore dignity to labor. With this, comrades, as we stated earlier, that in some state councils, very few of them, there are some teething challenges and some teething problems. So the NEC directive, this is the NEC of Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, the second highest body of TUC. When NEC takes a decision, everyone needs to act and will act decisively. Then also, the issues of casualization. In some of our affiliates, most especially those in private sector, in construction, in textile, in oil and gas, and in food and beverage, and all other textile sector. In banking, although the level varies from one sector to another, but the problem is there. The issue of casualization of workers. For us, this is not acceptable anymore, and government, the Ministry of Labor, should come up with a very strong policy to abrogate this misuse. Because you employ someone, Mr. A is doing a particular job, you are paying that person a certain rate, and you employ a casual staff with a 3 months renewal, and that person is paid 10% of what the permanent staff is being paid, meanwhile they are doing the same job. We call on federal government, as represented by the Ministry of Labor, to come hard on these employers of labor that are exploiting Nigerians, because they feel that there is no job in Nigeria. They feel that a lot of Nigerians are jobless, so they could be exploited. We must be protected. Government must act decisively. Then, another issue is also the issue that is bordering on the food and beverage industry. That today, the NAFDAC is going about closing companies and closing, industries down because of some things that clearly we do not understand. That some companies are producing, sachet alcohol, and based on that, they are closing them down. So the question we have asked is that where is the policy you are relying on? Where is the law that you are relying on? You cannot act arbitrarily. So for us, we are calling on the Federal Ministry of Health to call NAFDAC to order and bring everybody to the discussion table. Let us make our argument on the table, because the way NAFDAC is going about it, for us, that is not the the best practice internationally, and that is actually how not to go about such activities. So we are prepared, we are ready to meet them on the table. We'll put facts and figures together. We'll put data, right there on the table, and we'll discuss these issues to resolve them once and for all. In conclusion, NEC call on government at all levels to prioritize the welfare, dignity, and security of Nigerian workers in all policy decisions. The Trade Union Congress of Nigeria remains committed to constructive engagement, social dialogue, and national development. However, Congress will not hesitate to mobilize workers where policies continue to deepen hardship or undermine the rights and welfare of the Nigerian people. A speech in time save now. Signed, Comrade Engineer Festus Osifi, President General TUC, Comrade General N.A. Toro, PhD MNI, Secretary General TUC. Solidarity forever. Let's take question first, yes.
Thank you very much, number one worker, the president.